Today we have to try and make a decision on which route we should take here on the Oldsmobile. Unfortunately, the engine obviously isn't doing very well, but we have some last things I want to check before we deem it too bad to continue and it needs to be restored, and we have to think about if we should restore it or redo it, or if we should just go with another engine. And first off, we have one of the problems, and that is the oil leak. It is leaking a lot of oil, as you can see. And as you can see, there are a bunch of different spots, like 3 main spots. So it's obviously leaking from a multitude of places. But I mean, it doesn't really matter how much oil it leaks if it's running bad. So I'm not gonna look into the oil leaks before I have determined that we can work on this engine. As one of you said, maybe, I don't think so, but I don't know, maybe we have a bent push rod. I have never achieved to bend a push rod myself before, but I know it's common to happen. So of course we're gonna look into that. And while we have that push rod out, I don't think we're going to be able to achieve this, but I want to try and take a magnet down through the push rod hole and try to fish up the lifter. We're not going to be able to get it out of the engine, but we could get it into the lifter valley if we can get it loose, put it on its side and try to take a flashlight and see if we have made it, what do you call it? Round in the bottom, if it has been eating up on the cam. So I don't think that we'll be able to do that because lifters most often is pretty stuck in the bore, but we're gonna try, and we're gonna remove the push rod anyway to check it, so might as well. So that's the plan. And then we're at the point, okay, what if the cam is bad, what should we do? And I got a bunch of suggestions that we could change the cam, or that we should go through the engine and make it good and whatnot. But the thing is, right now I have about a week, next week, to work on this thing. Then I'm gonna have vacation and I'm gonna be home, but I am going to try and be with my family during the days, and I can do some work in the evenings and stuff like that. But in general, we basically have 4 or 5 days left to work. So yeah, we really need to hustle if we want to be able to drive it. And I won't be able to get a camshaft kit or a complete kit for the engine within this week and do that amount of work. So with that, it's much easier to put in the 350 with the small supercharger that I have. And then we can decide if we want to have the supercharger or put on a regular intake manifold. Because I really don't want to cut up the hood, and I don't want to dedicate the time to have the supercharger on this, because I want to keep the supercharger for another project instead, because I don't intend on owning this thing forever. So we'll see which route we go. But before that, we have to determine, is this engine bad or not? So I'm gonna go ahead, remove the valve cover, remove the rocker and the push rod, and see if I can find any issues. I actually managed to get the lifter out of the bore, which we're gonna look at. Well, first off, I looked at the push rods and they are straight, no problem there. I removed both to get some better access here. But I took a magnet, it's still there, to be able to remove the lifter. It was a bit hard, but I eventually got it out. And I'm gonna try and show you here with my camera. It's really hard, but if we go down here to the camshaft, we can see that the surface is very, what do I call it, grainy, like a sandpaper. A camshaft is supposed to be super shiny, like polished, and obviously this is not. And if we're looking at the bottom at the cam, if I can show you there, it looks to be more shiny. But I mean, it's supposed to, I mean, it wears off on the top of the what is it called, on the camshaft lobe. So obviously on the base circle it doesn't have any pressure, so it only wears on the lobe. It's really hard to do this because I want to move the camera, but I have to remove this to show you what happens. But so that's not a good sign, and I'm gonna try and show you the lifter here, which is really hard to find. There we have it. I'm gonna try and get over there. I gotta say, I didn't really see this on the camera, but I'm gonna try and see if I can explain it to you. If this is the bottom of the lifter that we can see, and it looks to be like a dish on it, which obviously isn't correct. It's supposed to be flat, and also there's supposed to be super shiny and almost polished, and this looks, weird in general. So yeah, I think we can conclude that we have a wiped cam lobe, which means basically that this engine is worthless. And of course, we can go ahead and change the cam, but we would still have an engine that leaks massively, and obviously it's an old engine. We don't know anything about it, but we could get it to run better at least. But as I said, I don't really have the time to order a cam, and I gotta say, I actually have a cam. I got it from one of my viewers. It's a brand new cam. I have lifters to it and everything, and it's supposed to be a turbo cam. And if we look forward, if I put in that cam and then we sell this thing, then I don't have that cam anymore, and I would like to do something fun with it instead of just putting it in this to get it going. So also that it will take me more time to change that cam than to just take my supercharged engine and put that in there. So that's the decision that I'm gonna go with right now. We're gonna change the engine again. Unfortunate, but that's life. And I'm not sure about the supercharger. For now, we're gonna just put it all in, but we might go to a regular intake manifold just for ease of convenience. I don't want to cut the hood. It's not really what I was thinking with this thing. I don't want to get rid of the supercharger. I would like to keep it, and I don't plan on keeping this thing forever. So also we would save a lot of time with belts and wires if we go with the V-belt drive that we have here instead of the serpentine belt that we have on the supercharged engine. So I have to think a little bit about that. But my decision right now is that that thing is going out of here, and we're gonna put in the supercharged engine instead. So that's what we're gonna work towards now. Here we have our new victim, and obviously if we get this thing into the car with this thing on, it's gonna be really hard to remove it after that. So who cares? It's a hood. You can find a new hood to if we decide to remove this later on. Also, we can build some sort of hood scoop that will cover this, which would be good either way. And then it doesn't matter if it has a supercharger or not. So yeah, we'll see. But then we have a bunch of other stuff. I'm not sure if I want to go with this serpentine setup. I would like to go with a V-belt. I'm not sure that will fit with this pulley. But yeah, we'll see. I don't need the power steering pump since we don't have power steering in the car, and it will be easier to use the alternator that we have. And yeah, but in that case we have to change the water pump also, but we're gonna manage it somehow. Stage one is getting it in the car, so that's what we're gonna do now. But first I would like to put the Oldsmobile or our 305 back together again so that we can start it. We can start it without getting the lifter back, so that we can flip the car to the others, drive it in backwards instead, because that will be easier to get the engine hoist, and even we can lift it out with the forklift. So yeah, put it together and switch it, and then start removing the engine. And here we have turned it around. I managed to get the lifter down the bore again. It was pretty hard, and now it has developed a new knocking sound. I'm not sure if I over tighten or under tighten the rockers, but who cares? This crap is going out of here, and we're gonna put in a supercharged engine instead. And this shouldn't be all that much work, because now we're going from a V8 to a V8 instead of from a 6 to an 8. So hopefully everything goes smoothly, but it's an old car, so probably not. But yeah, my goal, we'll see if we can achieve it, is to have the supercharged engine in the car and started. Not maybe everything around it, but yeah, we wanna try and start it in the car today. So we'll see if we can achieve that. But to do that, we need to work. So now let's hustle and remove this crap. About an hour later, we have the engine out of the car. I have taken everything from it. Realize I gotta take that, but otherwise I've taken everything. I put it onto the little cart so that we can put it away and forget about it for a while. So it took about an hour, a little longer than when we removed the straight 6, but there obviously is some more to it when you're taking out a V8 and a straight 6. So now we can start looking at the supercharged engine, and unfortunately we can't use this flywheel on the supercharged engine because it is the newer style one-piece rear main seal, which has a different bolt pattern. And I have flywheels for this bolt pattern, but unfortunately it has a bigger diameter. I'm not sure if that flywheel will accept the smaller clutch that we have, but we'll see. We're gonna solve this somehow. So yeah, let's start removing stuff from this and bolting on what we need and get it down in the Oldsmobile. After a lot more work than you might think, we have the engine done here, and it's actually we, because my father has been here in the background and helping me. He's away picking up lunch right now, but he was in the neighborhood and came by to say hi, and he couldn't help himself, so he started to help me. So what has happened here is I have fixed everything with the flywheel. We have a different flywheel, different pressure plate and disc. Everything is bigger with this setup. And there we have our original stuff from the straight six. So all of that is done, and that will work with that starter that we have. So we won't be running the 153 Thief starter. I got the fuel pump from the 305, which is brand new. There was a pump on this thing, but it has some weird in and outs on it, so we took that instead. And my father has spent some time converting this back to a V-belt drive instead of serpentine, which will help us a lot when we're gonna install it in the car later with the belts and wires and everything just hooking up instead of having to rebuild that. So that's fantastic. Also, engine mounts are on, so it's basically just shove it in there and then we can start installing it with everything around it. So this is coming together really good. Got the engine partly in, but I didn't really get the last few inches, and the reason is that I forgot this, but this is 153 teeth bell housing, which doesn't work with the 168 teeth that we're going to now. We ran into this issue on the 69 Chevelle. In that case I had another bell housing, but now I don't have that. So what the problem is that we're hitting on the bottom, because it's only the bottom half that is different. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut about 1-2 inches off the bottom here, because it doesn't really matter for strength, all the bolts will still be in. But yeah, it's a bit of a protection, but I don't really care. I want to get this engine in, so we're gonna cut that and get the engine in place. After some struggle, we have the engine in the car. It's bolted to the transmission, it's bolted to the cross member. And it was a lot harder to get this engine to thread onto the transmission for some reason. I don't know, but eventually we got it. So it is 100% in place. So that's amazing. And I've been thinking back and forth here about the supercharger. Of course, we can't remove the supercharger now that we have it in the car and it looks like this. We have to try it at least and see if it works. And then we can solve everything around it. And I also feel a lot better now that we went to the V-belt setup instead of the serpentine. So I think this is gonna work out. So yeah, I want to hear this sound a little bit here before we end the day. So we're gonna start putting on headers, distributor, carb and stuff like that, and see how much we can put on, and yeah, see how far we get. Got some stuff done here, get it up on jack stands. I put the headers in, so they are bolted down with some gasket maker. And we got the starter in place, all hooked up. Now that we have it's a little bit bigger, and also it's further out since it's a bigger flywheel. It's tighter to the header, but it fit, so that's great. And also I have put on the exhaust, and I wanted to show you two interesting things under here. First off, here you can see how much I cut off to make this work with this bell housing. It's pretty tight, but I mean, we could cut off some more. So I cut it off in 2 strips, and also had to cut out more of this corner to make the starter fit. So yeah, cut a lot of it, but I don't think that's gonna be a problem. The other thing I want to show you, see how much oil there is here from the 305. So it has been spraying oil under the car, it's everywhere. So yeah, hopefully we don't have that issue anymore. But anyway, gonna continue bolting on stuff, so hopefully we can start this thing. I made some progress here, but I also realized a problem that we will have to tackle probably next week. First thing is that I have got in the distributor in. I turn over the engine to the correct place and put it in, and I had to remove the valve covers. I put on one of the chrome covers, and I put in spark plug and spark wires and whatnot. So it is startable. I just took some brake clean down in the supercharger and just barked off. So I know that the ignition should be somewhat good. But something that is an issue is with the bell housing. I thought that the bell housings were identical in the top half and it was just the bottom half that was different. But if you look at it, if you would look at the engine and transmission from the side, I think this bell housing is more slanted, while the 168 teeth bell housing is more rounded. Which gives it more space for obviously the flywheel and the pressure plate. And we are hitting right now. It's not hitting more than it can turn over by the starter really easily, but it is hitting. So maybe it will self-clearance, I don't think so. But worst case, we'll have to take it down. We will probably 99% take it down on Monday. And obviously we now have some proper markings on where it hits, so we can take off some more material and hopefully get it good. Otherwise, I have to look for a 168 teeth bell housing, which I'm going to try and find one, of course. But if I can't find one, we have to make it work. So yeah, but that will be a problem for Monday. And I'm currently on borrowed time here because yeah, we're out of time, but I really want to get this thing started. So we're gonna put on a carb, hook it up with the fuel line, and just see if we can get it to idle and rev it a little bit. Carb on, and it should start. And I sprayed myself with so much gas, and I'm so stupid because the hose was a lot longer with the connection that I had on the Edelbrock carb. It went behind and up the back, so I had to shorten it, and I had this welding clamp on it. So, and I had turned it over, so obviously it was full of pressure. And I cut it and I sprayed myself straight in the face, so I had to rush in, wash my face and change my clothes because I hate smelling like gasoline, and it really stings more than you think. But fortunately I had time to close my eyes. But yeah, I'm gonna try to start it, and as I said, there is gonna be some bad noises here that I already heard some indications on, so don't be too worried about that. It is the pressure plate and the flywheel hitting the bell housing, so we're gonna fix that later. But yeah, let's try and start it and see what happens. Carb is filled with fuel, and we know that it fires, so it's gonna fire right off. It seems to be running just fine. It's too bad that we have to remove the transmission, but I mean, it's an hour at most to remove the transmission. We do some grinding, we slap it back up, and hopefully it will be good. So I don't think that obviously it's not that much of a clearance issue if it can spin over. It's hitting somewhere, but I mean, I think we can manage with this bell housing. So yeah, we'll see which route we go on Monday to fix it. But other than that, I'm really happy. We have the engine in the car. We have gone from a 6-cylinder to a 305 that was clapped out to now having a 350 that my father has gone through. All of the wear out parts, piston rings, I'm losing myself here, bearings and whatnot has been changed out. So it should be good to go. And I mean, this is not going to be a monster. The bottom end is basically stock, or it is completely stock. So hopefully this gives us some more fun to it, but it's not going to be super wild. But I think it's going to be fun to drive. So yeah, that will be all that we have time for this week. I'll be back to you on Monday and see how we solve the transmission issue, and hopefully try and drive it for the first time with the Supercharger.